The 2024 Le Mans 24 Hours, 101 years since the first ever Grand Prix d'Endurance in the centre of France. All-American front row with Penske's Porsche and the number 3 Cadillac, fastest in qualifying, but 2 Ferraris behind soon imposed themselves at the front of the race. The number 50 car would lead the very first lap, and the 51 car putting the Penske Porsche that started for pole under pressure to make it a red 1-2 in the early going. But nothing is ever that easy at Le Mans. When you race all the way round the clock twice, things happen. And this year things happened early on for the number 20 BMW Art car, one of BMW's new hypercar contenders, off in the gravel at the final chicane on the lap. Well, a disappointment for the crew, and the extensively modified car would spend a lot of time in the garage. It was not destined to be a finisher. With the speed of the cars, safety precautions are always required on this circuit, much of which is public road for the other 51 weeks of the year. And the men and women in orange, the marshals that keep the drivers safe, were in for a long and busy weekend as ever. The BMW crew set to work with a will, but the car was never likely to be a strong contender after this impact. 2 brand new hypercars in the race from Lamborghini. Danny Kvyat, the ex-Grand Prix driver, spinning 63 into the gravel as he left the pits for his very first stint. Not an auspicious start, and it seemed to trigger a mirror reaction from his teammate, the number 19 car, spinning at Tertre Rouge. Fortunately, it survived without much injury. The same was true for the number 3 Cadillac. Over the brow in the S's, meandering onto the grass and rattling it down the barriers. Incredibly, there was no damage from the high-speed impact. But when you get away with this, you start to wonder whether Le Mans is smiling kindly on you. It wasn't on Alpine. 2 brand new hypercars. Freddie Habsburg had to park one of them with a spectacular engine failure at Mulsanne corner, the furthest point away from the pits on the circuit, and the sister car was dragged into the pits with a critical engine warning on the very same lap. They were fast, they were beautiful, they sounded great, but they need a bit more reliability in the engine department. The Iron Dames Lamborghini in the GT3 category had been in 3rd place. The all-female crewed car, though, was knocked into a spin by contact from the Porsche hypercar from the Penske team. They too, fortunately, survived without damage and were able to continue their hunt for a podium. But the impact could have been so much worse for them. The number 6 Porsche would serve a penalty for the contact, and that would take them a little bit further out of overall contention early on. With the engine warning, the 36 Alpine limped back to the garage, and with hasty examination, it was clear that the car was going no further. BMW's number 15 hypercar had been running fast and clean, and suddenly was at the side of the track with its front wheels removed. What had happened to driver Dries van Tor? He was clearly okay, but the barriers were not. The number 15 car would be the one that brought out the first safety car of the race. And the replay showed quite clearly it was contact. The number 83 Ferrari was the culprit. Barrier repairs would cause an hour-long delay and a safety car. The 15 was out of action. The 83 would receive a penalty. And the end of the road for the doctor. Valentino Rossi's car being driven by Ahmad Al-Hati. Just an innocuous lose in the S's, but a very heavy impact with the barriers would take another of WRT's BMWs out of the hunt. Both of their hypercars were off the road, and now their 46 GT3 was as well. They had 1 car left. Nightfall, and the safety cars remained out for the barrier repairs on the Mulsanne straight. They were joined then by rain, and although it wasn't misty outside, for a number of the drivers, visibility was extremely tough. The safety car remained out for more than 4 hours during the night, and by dawn, the battle continued to rage. Front runners all season, Manthey Pure Racing in the Porsche in GT3 hit their fair share of troubles and they dropped out of overall contention. Their team car, the Manthey EMA Porsche, though, was still very much in the hunt. Nielsen Competition's LMP2 car suffered damage, clattering the barriers in the S's as the slippery track caught him out on slick tyres. He wasn't the only one either. The number 4 car from Porsche Penske Motorsport heading into the Porsche curves. Again, the tyres designed for dry conditions, just not handling the still damp track. A heavy impact with the barriers. And there was even more drama. Heart of Racing's Aston Martin barrel rolled into retirement, bringing out another safety car period. Over the wet curbs, into the tyre wall, and a gentle roll onto the roof. Fortunately, as in all the other incidents, the driver was A-OK. But once more, the safety car was out for clear up. And when you ride on board, you can understand why. Cadillac's number 3 car had dropped out of contention early on, but their IMSA entry, the 311 from Whelan, hit the barriers just before lunchtime, and that too dropped out of contention. But their number 2 car, their regular season entry, was still a potential winner. So were 2 Porsches, 3 Ferraris, until the 83 car caught fire in the pit lane. A total electrical blackout was the reason. High drama for the 83 crew, but the front hybrid drive or its electronics seemed to be malfunctioning, and there was nothing for it but to park the car that for many hours had been the overall race leader here at Le Mans. Their dreams would have to wait for another day. This race was over. But 2 factory Ferraris remained in the hunt with the 2 Works Toyotas, and they were very close together. Contact between the number 51 car and number 8 in very wet conditions early in the afternoon would result in a penalty for 51. And the race boiled down to the battle between Ferrari and Toyota. Cadillac and Porsche were bystanders, as 50 and 51 from Ferrari, 7 and 8 from Toyota continued to slug it out for supremacy. Rain came and went, drizzle and then more rain. Wet weather tyres were going to be required to finish this one in one piece. After 22 hours, we were still no closer to knowing which of the top 9 cars overall was going to win. At times, Ferrari seemed to have the upper hand, but then the number 7 Toyota moved up into second place. The number 50 Ferrari that led was short on fuel. In the end, though, they managed to make it home, measuring their pace against their economy. A stunning 2nd consecutive win at Le Mans for Ferrari, and a first for the crew of car number 50. Niklas Nielsen held his nerve under attack from Toyota for the final 90 minutes. In LMP2, it was the 22 car from United Autosports that was victorious, while Manthey EMA claimed their first win of the World Endurance Campaign with the big one, victory in Le Mans. Our LMP3 winning crew featured 1 experienced driver and 2 making their debut at this great race. A day they will never forget. And for Ferrari and Toyota, another epic duel. As last year, Toyota came close, but Ferrari took the honours. They are the 2024 Le Mans 24-hour winners.